Okay, folks, we are live. Boy, we just barely made that
Woo!
one.
Need another cup of coffee.
You're right about that. Tommy and I, for those who are new to us, first off, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate this. As a habit, we try to start a few moments early to give you some background stuff. What we're laughing about here is that neither of us, at least myself, has had prior podcast experience. And why is that important? And Tommy, I guess, maybe a little bit more because he's much more in the public image, but that reflects his position that anybody can be, if they want, a successful public speaker and confident. Confident and successful may not be the same, so we may come back to that as a later topic. Perhaps. But that being said, I say, look, as an introvert, shy that I am, you can say that easy enough, but it sounds like it's turning on a light switch. I just don't see it. So we're going to get to our dialogue. So anyway, we're laughing at our learning curve still in this podcast thing as we first came on. Some background work, or some chores I call it. Please remember, you can sign in to us if you don't see the original. You can sign in via Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Please remember, if you look at us through YouTube, you must be signed in through Google or YouTube directly to leave comment as you do the other two platforms also. Please share those comments. I need all the help I can get chasing Tommy around the ring. He says he's trying to rear me out. I think he's running scared, but we'll see how this plays out in today's conversation.
Wow.
So what we're talking about today, what I do with Tommy is I trail behind him. The guy is very prolific in publishing in the social media, a lot of good articles. And so I chase down some of his articles because I figure if I can use his words, he can't deny he said it. So I get the recorded version, and here we are. And
There you go.
And I think one of the things I saw recently was becoming a confident public speaker is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Is that something you wrote? Is that somebody else?
Yeah, you take out the magic wand, you say 1, 2, 3, you wave the magic wand, and you're a public speaker.
Yes,
it's as easy as that, you know.
What came to my mind was a little lady clicking her heel 3 times in the Wizard of Oz to get back
That's
home to
it.
Kansas, I guess.
There's no place like home, Joe. You know that.
I hear that. So I'm going to ask you to put some weight on that because is it really that easy, or does it take some work, some consideration?
Well, is it really that easy? It's just like anything else. You know, my father used to always say, you can truly achieve anything you set your mind to.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is everybody has a belief system when it comes to public speaking, right? That it's more than average in anything else in life. There's a negative that goes along with public speaking, which is kind of interesting. Of all the things we do in life, right? The negative that's attached to public speaking is incredible.
Okay.
So if we start out that way, and I don't even...
To me, it's quite plausible. So I'll just throw my 2 cents in there.
What I'd like to say is, I don't know where it starts, or is it peer pressure? The fact of when you're younger in school, you really care what your friends and fellow classmates think of you, right? So that's such an important part of growing up, is wondering and caring about how people think about you. So I think the negative comes is that you're so caught up in what everybody's thinking of you that you'll never do as good as you think. And I'll say this to you about public speaking. Most people that I meet in trainings and workshops are much better than they believe.
Okay.
You'd be so surprised when I meet people and they come up and present, and I look and I go, well, what was wrong with that? And the answer is nothing. I just needed to get up there and do it.
Well, I hear that, but is that phrase stage fright? That if it's that basic, that simplistic, where does the phrase stage fright come in?
Yeah. Well, because it is stage fright, but it's just a belief system. And again, we can be frightened of many things, right? We choose not to be frightened of, where we live in New Jersey. If we woke up every day frightened of driving on Route 80, we'd never drive on Route 80. And you should be afraid to drive on Route 80.
Fair.
Fair enough, right? But it's a mindset. When you get on Route 80, it takes you from point A to point B in a quicker way. And we use it and we go. We can choose a lot of things to be afraid of in life. Like I said, this one, I think it's planted in our subconscious so early, so young, that, if you have to do a play in school and you're in the 3rd grade, or even your kindergarten graduation. You'll always see the one kid who's waving to his mom and dad the whole time, right? And just thrilled to be there.
Yeah, well,
And then you'll see
that's not me.
that's not you, right? But you understand what I'm saying? There's always that one kid who loves it and he can't believe it, that look at me, I'm up here and I can wave to my mom and dad. And then there's the other kid who wanted to stay home and was nauseous and ready to pee his pants before he got on stage,
I get that.
So, yeah. So it's a mindset thing. And I think what has to happen is you have to become aware of who you are and where you're at, and you grow from that. As well as I do. We're talking public speaking here, and it's fantastic. But, with your coaching and what you do with people need breakthroughs in all areas of life, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
And you know it. And where does it all start? When you're working with another person, you find out where they are, you find out where they want to go, and then you eliminate the obstacles that are in between. And you give them a path to where they want to go.
So I'm going to do a commercial break. I can interrupt. Thank you, folks who are visiting us and who are liking us. We do appreciate this. Feel free to share a comment. It would help me out quite a bit and maybe provide focus here that I have yet to grasp. I hear the thing about people should not care what people think to feel confident about their public speaking. But yet you use the example of graduation, maybe elementary, perhaps high school, where a young person is waving all over the place to mom and dad. Certainly he or she cares. So right. Is it a different kind of caring concept?
Well, that's a great question. And I guess you wrote this over the weekend because you came well prepared today. Attaboy. I don't believe you shouldn't care what people think.
Right.
If we fall into that trap, then we won't do what we need to do to be good. I do believe we should care what people think, but only when you step up to the podium or step onto the platform fully prepared and ready to deliver your presentation. Mm-hmm. If you feel comfortable that you did enough, it won't matter what anyone else thinks. What happens is if we don't really do what we're supposed to do and somebody says something, it hurts. Mm-hmm. But in reality, what's really bothering you is the fact that you aren't ready. So bottom line is, I believe this. It's been taught to me through the years by my mentors that there's nobody, when you step up to the platform, nobody wants to see you fail. Nobody wants to see you disappoint or do bad. People really aren't wired that bad. So with that point being made is, you know what? It's a breakthrough that everybody needs, and it's a mindset breakthrough. I say it all the time, be before you can do. So people go in and they say they want to do public speaking. Well, you have to be before you can do. You have to become the person who knows what to do what you have to do.
Well,
so it's an interesting concept.
Then I have a question for you. Comes to mind is the term called character acting. That a guy has to put a pebble in his shoe to get a bad limp, or he has to live like he's starving for 12 days before he can start going on casting. So you talk about when one is prepared. How does one know that, hey, I'm ready for this? Does one ever reach that point?
Well, you know what it is. You develop your skills and you develop your skills and talents. I always like to say this, that, you focus on your strengths and you manage your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. But you need to be aware of both. And most people aren't aware, and they don't take a good look or a personal inventory of what their strengths are, right? Everybody focuses more on their weaknesses than they do their strengths. That being said, it's why kids have always gotten a bad label. You do great in history, you get a 95 on your history test, and you get a 60 on your math test, and you get a red mark, and everybody's pointing at the 60 and telling you that you're out. What's wrong with you? How could you?
True.
Right? Yeah. So we've been programmed that way by our schools.
My wife does that to me all the time. So, so I get totally what you're saying.
Yeah, you signed off on that a long time ago, buddy. Don't complain to me. Next month, we're together 40 years.
All right. Congratulations on that.
Yeah. So that being said, we're programmed to focus on which now that I think about it, it's for a whole nother subject and a whole nother day. If you're going to focus on your weaknesses, the truth is what you focus on, you get more of.
Okay, well, that's a fact in life. We're talking about focus, and I guess that takes some time. I'm going to share a comment by Bob Mitchie. Hey, Bob, thanks for joining in and signing in. And he says, my hardest stage was on Zoom last month when I was given 2-hour notice. I would be presenting to Kevin O'Leary and 400 people in a pitch for a new service. So that's an interesting point. So when we talk about being prepared, does it take 2 years, 2 months, or 2 hours to get there?
Well, it depends on how much your want is. So you got to understand with Bob Mitchie, he was thrust into that, but he wanted it. He wasn't turning it down. He got the pitch.
Good point. He could have said no to that. So,
it's like instant courage. Just add water, and he stepped up and he took the steps that he needed to do. Sometimes you got to jump in, right, with both feet. Sometimes you test the water, but when somebody says that, hey, within 2 hours you have an opportunity to pitch your business in front of some of the most incredible business people in the world, that's when you jump in. The choice is yours. The opportunity is there. And what Bob, without stepping up and doing the presentation, what a lost opportunity, one he might not have ever gotten back. So that's a great example.
And the concept just comes to mind as you're talking, quote, an extended version of the elevator pitch. And then they say, certainly you want to rehearse. If you get on the elevator, somebody says, hey, so what do you do? And you've got something to say other than, duh, I don't know. I can't shoot. So 2 hours is maybe an extended version of that. So I'm going to assume, and maybe Bob can clarify this, I'm assuming he keeps a repertoire, maybe bullet outline formats on the shelf he can put off if he needs to boost.
Oh, no, what he's saying is that he had 2 hours notice.
Right.
To give the presentation. He didn't give a 2-hour presentation.
Okay, so I misunderstood that. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Oh, no. I don't know how long his presentation was. Maybe he could hop on it. Maybe it was 10 minutes. He was able to pitch in front of these people, but they gave him 2 hours. So with that being said, I'll give you a little tip that I tell everybody all the time.
Okay.
Everybody should have a back pocket speech. Right? A back pocket speech. Something that if somebody says, hey, you're at the Rotary Club, you feel like speaking today? What does it say?
Says no life jacket needed. So hey, sounds like he got through it pretty good.
Look at him. Look at him. He's doing humor now when it comes to public speaking.
He also said 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah. I thought maybe 30 seconds or something, but 3 minutes. But that's still time. 3 minutes.
Oh, that's plenty of time. Now, if you wanted me to take it where it needs to go, when you say your elevator pitch and an extension of your elevator pitch, one of the best things you can do as a public speaker or presenting is to throw in a personal story. Something that happened to you this week, last year, your birthday, but you throw in a personal story. Even if you take 30 seconds and say, you know what? I actually stumbled across this business. I never dreamed I'd be here, but here's what happened. And people connect with personal stories. So to make your elevator pitch into a actual presentation, add some personal stories, things that happened along the way, things that went well, things that went bad, because people relate to that, right? They can feel your pain. So that's one of the tips I was going to throw out.
I hear that. And that may even reflect to what Bob was saying a few moments ago, that he was given a 2-hour notice, something he hadn't planned 4 hours prior. And so he was in a position where he positioned himself to take advantage of that opportunity.
Sure.
Which, again, if you want to be successful, you have to be ready in that direction. And folks, as I'm understanding what Tommy is saying, I've yet to admit it makes sense to me.
Wow.
That if you want to be successful, you have to be ready to take advantage. What do they say? Success is opportunity and luck occurring at the same time? Is that
Well, it's when preparation meets opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they consider luck, is when preparation meets opportunity. Okay. So the opportunity was there. Bob had his pitch down. The opportunity came. He couldn't pass up on it. And bingo, right? There it was. There was the luck that everybody would say, wow, you got lucky. You got to speak in front of Kevin O'Leary. Really? Or was I prepared already and it happened and the opportunity came and I was ready for it? That's where success and what they consider luck comes into play.
Which actually becomes part of the story too, because you're talking about sharing stories, perhaps starting in. And I could see, I did not go to that group. I didn't know about it, but certainly I could see him, if I were there, he'd say, hey folks, 2 hours and 30 seconds ago, I didn't expect to be where I am.
Yeah.
so let me tell you how that happened. And as a matter of fact, as I understand, Bob Mitchie is an IT expert, and he's talking about having your systems protected. And if you're not prepared, it's not going to be good for your business future, for your clients who are on board also. So I can understand how the moment adds to the theme of his discussion, perhaps.
So 2 things we can talk about to think of is, We call it the icebreaker speech, where you talk about yourself and you just
Right.
go out and do a presentation about yourself,
Okay.
right? Because who knows more about you than you? And you should feel the same way about your business. The simple fact about being an expert is no one knows more about my business than me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your comfortability should come in, where you're an expert. So you're an expert in yourself personally, and you're an expert in your profession. Home run.
Sounds good to me. And I think that can take us home for the moment also.
Did you say sounds good to you?
No, no.
Oh,
I was coughing. I was thinking about getting another glass, a sip of
I,
water.
I was just
Sounds-
going to say you might
sounds
want
good
to
me.
get you might want to get in your corner and get the towel and throw it in. I think I think it's over.
That actually was very good, the water. Thank you very much for clarifying that for me, Tommy. Thanks again for visiting us. Oh, geez. Give him an itch. The guy runs all around the ring now.
There you go.
Anyway, but Dividend is he's an opportunist. There we go. That I can agree with about Tommy. He is definitely an opportunist. So for those who want to adhere to his philosophy, which I'm not knocking, by the way, that by all means he is connectable. Below the links, you'll see his business. Please feel free to connect with him or me and join our next event also. Thank you very much.
Look forward to seeing you.